Okay, three, two. Oh, wait. Did it start? Oh, we're streaming now. Okay, now we're live.
Oh my goodness, we are not techies. It's a good thing we're good homeopaths because we make lousy IT techs.
Okay,
Hey,
three. There we go. It's muted on there. Okay, cool. I didn't want an echo in
Andrew.
the background. Oh, I keep
Oh,
looking at my computer's camera instead of the other camera.
look up. We're all here waiting for you. Woo-hoo.
Hi. Welcome to our stream. We're here to today to talk about bruises and contusions.
And some bumps and just a little
Yeah,
first aid
bumps.
for your household. Yes, that's what we're here about. I'm Lucy from Charles Lake Apothecary.
And
I
I'm
offer
Andrew.
home.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right, Andrew.
uh,
I offer homeopathy, like Andrew,
mhm.
Reiki, chakra balancing, dowsing, tarot card readings, a whole bunch of things
Mhm.
in the Athens area.
And I'm Andrew from Rawas Wellness. I offer homeopathy, Reiki, and crystal healing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's the perfect time to help people, isn't it?
Yes.
So we apologize for being late. I don't know if I'm repeating myself. Andrew told me we weren't live when I was chatting away. But we're definitely not IT people at all. Andrew is more so than I am, but for some reason, I forgot that I was supposed to send Andrew a link to Zoom. Anyways, here we are, and every week we'll have a reason why we're late. It seems like so. We apologize up front, but you can rely on us being consistently, irregularly late by a few minutes only.
Yeah.
It's not because we're not trying behind the scenes because we're like go go go, but hey,
Yeah.
that's how it
Well, at
goes.
least it's working now.
Yes. My kids always told me I was going to be late for my own funeral, so that's
Oh
me,
no.
which is a problem in itself. But hey, yes. Anyways, so today we were going to talk about first aid and some
Yes.
remedies you could use at home.
So the combo remedy is the
Woo!
cream or the tablets from Boiron or Hector,
Oh,
the other brand name.
yes. And I'm going to disappear because I also forgot to bring it to the table. So you keep chatting.
So I have the gel or the cream, but this one specifically is the gel. Um, I hit my finger last night, so just where you just rub it in until it's all gone. And I put a little too much, so you don't really need much, and that's it. And it's not sticky. Oh my, this is nice. I actually haven't used the gel before. I usually use the cream,
Yeah,
but
I like the cream too.
the gel just goes away. It's nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
This is the Arnicare cream.
Hmm.
That's the box it comes in, anyways, from Boron.
I have the little sample bottle open.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it. So, what do you use it for? Where do you put it on?
So I closed a window on my fingers last night.
What?
So you put it on right there, and then you don't get the bruising.
Nice.
So it's a little sore, but at least they're not purple.
Yeah. So it's a
And
little bit for pain too, right?
yeah,
So this is like arnica and pellets. You could see they're very tiny pellets.
but
And a
usually
dose,
you would need the 30 or the 12, right?
yeah, a lower dose. This is a higher dose. I had it handy. So this is a really higher dose.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you would need to take it depending, right? Like you want to
Mm-hmm.
be able to take it for soft tissues until the pain is manageable, but you can repeat 3 or 4 times a day. Um, definitely, I mean, you can take the one end if it's really bad, but I think the lower the dose, the better.
Usually, especially for first aid, you kind of want to
Yeah.
stay in that 30 and 12 CH.
Yeah, because
Or,
how it's on a physical level, right?
With the cream, you want to put it on right away.
Yeah.
If you're using it for bruises, the faster you put it on, the faster it works. You can also use it instead of Voltaren. So for like arthritic pains, you put it right on the joints. It works really well. I've had 2 or 3 patients that have been using it for the past year, and it really works. She.
Yeah. And there's an indication, like it says 3 or 4 times a day, but
Mhm.
um, you can give it if it's a little bit more often if you're finding it's severe enough that it requires it, right?
Yeah.
The
So
great thing about homeopathic remedies is it doesn't have the side effects, right?
yeah, and I also have the kits that come with both the cream and the pellets, which is like
Oh, nice.
it's like $4 more, so you save like $6. It's a really good deal.
Yeah, good. So your finger's not bruised today then after
No,
your
it's
slap?
just a little red.
Yeah, that's good. So the other one that the one that we have a lot of, I would say, is stings, right? Like mosquitoes or bee stings.
That'll be with the allergies though.
You're gonna do that with allergies? All
Yeah,
right.
it's just because there's the DAPIS just for stings, but when we're talking about allergies, some people's reactions are a little bit more severe than others.
But if you're looking at just getting away from the itching and the bite stake, you could take something like Apis.
Yeah,
But a lot of the remedies can be used for more than one thing.
yeah, true.
So it's
Like
always good.
the calendula, which says for cuts and scrapes, is good for rashes too, which is.
Yeah, and I have the cream here, which is
Mhm.
really great, right? And calendula is made from most of these are plants, right? So calendula is
Yeah.
like a marigold plant that they use. Um,
Do you have the pamphlet for it? Apparently, all of them have these pamphlets.
oh, really? No, I don't have the
Keeps
pamphlets for
going
them. Where are you getting
invisible.
them?
From
Are they
Boira.
from?
Yeah.
Really? I
So
didn't
it
know that. I
gives
should order
them all
some.
the warnings, the ingredients, and
Lovely.
keeps going invisible. So it's
I'll
really
have to give them a
nice.
call. Right then.
Tells you what the oil's made out of. Thymol esters, and fatty free acids. Okay. So
Nothing harmful there.
yeah,
That's awesome.
basically what's in the sanitizer without the alcohol.
Yeah. Well, we could do without that
Mm-hmm.
sanitizer stuff too. This one has non-greasy, paraben-free, and fragrance-free.
They're
I've used
nice.
I've used I've used this often on Dual Cream.
Yeah, and if anybody wants kits from any of the remedies that we're talking about, so there's these handy kits. They hold up to 18 remedies, and
Yep.
depending on how many remedies you get with the kit is a different price. And this is a good starter book for your first aid stuff. There's also a homeopathic first aid booklet you can get too. Um, I don't know where I put mine because I haven't used it in a while. But
I
it's
have a little booklet that if somebody buys the kit, they
yeah,
will get the booklet of the remedies that are in the kit, obviously, and tells you how to use it, what to use it for. So it's a quick little,
but it's not
gaze
the
at.
same as like a covered book. I
Yeah.
like the spine.
Yep. There's all kinds of remedies to choose from. Definitely, you want to keep arnica in your first aid kit.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about?
Hypericum is another big remedy to
Yeah,
keep in your first aid kit for our bruises and contusions because that's a good for nerve injuries or with
right.
shooting pain, sensitive to touch, usually your fingertips, your spine, if you fall on your tailbone. Um,
Yes.
yeah,
Here's how it's
a lot
spelled. You
of
can see it. Hypericum perforatum.
it's the remedy made from St. John's wort.
There you go.
Yeah.
The other one too is aconite. Have you used aconite before?
Yes, but that's usually sudden, like right away, when there's
Yeah,
fear right after the trauma.
yeah. And this is how it's aconitum napellus is how it's spelled.
Yes.
And aconite, most of these are plants. So like arnica is a daisy. And do you know which plant
No.
this aconite comes from?
Bellus perennis is daisy.
Oh, sorry, Bella,
Aconite is mountain daisy.
mountain daisy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
they're different.
Yeah. And then
Which, again, Bellus is a good deep tissue to soft tissue bruising remedy. Um, a lot of punches in the stomach, deep abdomen wounds. They're usually better warm applications and cold applications. So,
hmm,
a warm bath will, sorry, warm is aggravating, not better. Oh my god, I mixed them up. And then cold is better, but not ice cold, like cool
cool.
applications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's ruta,
Mm-hmm.
which is another great remedy.
Especially for right above the eye, this bone here.
The bone above the eye. What's
Yeah.
with the bone above the eye?
Ruta would be the near specific for injury right here. If this part is crushed or hurt.
Yeah. So it's good for tendons, ligaments, bruised
Mm-hmm.
bones. I think what we're going to end up doing at some of our live sessions is we're going to actually do probably a series of first aid talks because
Mm-hmm.
now it's just we're throwing out some names out there, but um, we'll go through an entire kit, do some of our series when we start to go live. This kind of just gives you a little bit of a snapshot of some of the remedies that can help you. And you can get these, I'm not sure in Brockville where you can get these. I know there's a health food store that probably offers them.
Me here at
You
Relish
and
Wellness and
you
Gifts.
and you, yes. I have a pharmacy too. I don't typically sell tubes of them though, but the
I do.
creams and all that I have. You sell the tubes. I bought a tube off you once because I had something. What was
Yeah,
it? I don't
that's
remember what
that's
it
why I
was
have the
now.
kits. Um, my library of individuals are not as big, but I order them, they come next day.
Yeah, they're really good for delivery because you're right. Somebody wants to order tubes from us, they're usually back in our little hot little hands in 24 hours, if not 48 at the most. And so we have we have a few places that we can get them from for sure, and
Another
have them on hand. But you're right, I do have them in my first aid kits.
Leadum is another one that should be in first aid kits. It's good for
Absolutely.
bruises with pain and pitting edema. So when you press on the bruise, the press stays for a little bit. It'll
And that is made from a rhododendron flower. I can't even probably say it properly. Rhododendron. You should have some little pictures, but
So those would
that's
be
not.
the very purple bruises. Again, cold to touch, better cold applications. Um, it's good for inflammations of the skin after surgery and black eyes with black blue swelling,
Mm,
which you see a lot in young boys.
really?
Yeah, guys get into fights all the time when they're growing up.
Oh, my son never did, but I guess that's possible. Did you?
No, I'm usually the one getting the bruises. Well,
Yeah.
they
Well,
throw the
sometimes
first punch, it doesn't go their way.
they throw the first punch and what? And you
If
don't get
they
out of
throw
the
the
way.
first punch, they don't win.
Yeah. Well,
Also, it gets you in more
we
trouble.
don't advocate for anybody to be throwing any punches, but yes, it does happen, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
The other one for, again, a similar looking bruise would be lachesis, which is, again, a purplish black. It's not cold to touch. Bruises are really dark.
And lachesis, because you and I say it differently, is a snake remedy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Laxus is again good for sore throats as well. So
yeah.
that's another multi-purpose remedy right there for first aid kits.
Yeah, it's surprising how many people, for their uh, constitutional remedy, if you believe in that, take like lachesis or lachesis, whatever you want to call it, whichever way you want to pronounce it.
Mm-hmm. They're
um,
usually single-sided remedies for constitution. So when they're having arthritic pains, it would be on one side of the body, not both. Uh,
yeah, and so I don't know that we've talked about constitutional remedies versus like a first aid remedy. Maybe we should talk about the difference between the two.
well, we're talking about first aid, so I think we should stick with it. A constitutional remedy is usually something they'd come to us for rather than something you'd
Take their
watch
own.
over it
Yeah,
on a video.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first aid remedies would be something very particular. You're taking a remedy for a particular pain or a bruise or a
Mm-hmm.
puncture wound or a bite. And constitutional remedies are really for all the symptoms that you would have. And we don't discuss that in this show because it's definitely need a
It's
homeopath.
very tricky, and
Yeah.
it's very easy to get wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
Because with a lot of people, constitutional remedies don't typically exist for them, and it evolves as they get sick with different things or the symptoms flare up differently, and events can change it. So a lot of people don't like to think of constitutional remedies at all.
Yes, there are some division in regards to thoughts
Yeah.
around constitutional remedy, but we do know the first aid remedies are exactly as they are, and they do work individually for the matters that you take them for.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So, do we want to talk about a remedy we don't talk about often?
Which one?
Okay, this one is for crushing injury with black discoloration. Kind of looks painted, and it's also good for gangrene injuries. It's called Secale. Am I pronouncing that right?
I don't know.
SEC is the short form for it.
Oh, it's a Cali,
Yes.
like ALE. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not as familiar with that one. It's really interesting because like there's over 5,000 remedies, right? And you can get, and especially because we're relatively new homeopaths of like 10 years.
Well, I remember that one because that was in my training, and it's also in the little booklet that I have somewhere. So it's
Oh yeah.
a homeopathic first aid book, and it's mentioned just for crushing injuries, and they're really it has I don't remember if it had pictures or not, but while I was in school, they showed us pictures of each
Oh really?
injury to show us the difference,
Yeah.
and it was not pretty to look at.
Oh, can imagine.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Um,
yeah.
Another one of the first aid remedies that it's not because of a first aid, you know, illness or accident, but nux vomica, if you're into a little bit of partying, has always been known as the hangover remedy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not feeling good the next day, that would be it. Or the other one is if you're feeling not so good the next day because you're vomiting, it's ipecac.
Yeah.
So both are really good remedies.
Yes, they are. Okay, I'm gonna quiz you on this other one.
No, don't. Okay, go ahead. I'll try.
Okay. If you've given arnica, but the pain did not go away, it's typically given for bruising in elderly, uh, gangrene after injuries, or if there's bleeding inside the eye after a trauma.
Ooh. Uh, hmm. I could guess, but I might get it wrong. Does it start with a C?
No.
C. I'm not even going to say it then. Let me see what else there is. Let me think about it. I'm going to say I don't know.
So it is sulfuric acid. So the
Oh,
giving if you give someone arnica for the bruise and it doesn't go away, that's the remedy you give. And again, it's good for elderly bumps and bruises because they do it a lot. So when they start losing their perception, they bump into everything,
yeah.
and they
Well, and their skin is very fragile too, right?
and they're usually slower to heal than
Yeah,
younger. Yeah.
yeah. My dad was like that because he was a truck driver. So he always had his left arm on the window of his truck. And so the sun, I think, really thinned out the skin. And then he would bump it, and the bruising would be quite extensive as he got older, anyways. Yeah.
I have one more injury that happens again a lot with adolescents. It's for injuries to glands, especially for the testes and the breasts. It's caninum. The short form is con. So that's the remedy for when you're working in construction and the 2x4 hits you right up in there.
Oh, sounds like you have experience with this.
Oh no, not.
Oh,
I've seen it a lot.
okay.
And
Well, it's interesting because you and I would have different types of clients, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
And again, the the swollen breast happens a lot with they're getting a lot more violent. I guess it's a phase. Every couple like 5 years or so, there'll be this wave of violent kids, and they'll either be boys or girls, but they're not every year. Um,
Well, that's weird. Yeah, what do they do? So they're more.
I've actually seen this happen right outside my clinic one time. It was across the street. We called the police because this one girl would not leave the other alone, and you really can't get near them. They're like a group of 4 or 5 girls, and they're beating up the other one. And if you touch, you can't touch them.
Yeah.
I just noticed that's dying. There.
Well, someday we should speak about our experiences because we've between the two of us, ours have been very different, right?
Yeah.
Your clientele and mine, and even our school experiences, our clinic, even our clinic experience in school,
Yeah.
probably different.
They should change because one of the teachers, if you just went recently, was my classmate.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, interesting because I taught business in my school when I graduated and psychology. So teaching people how to start their practice and then Psych 101. So that was a lot of fun.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, good mix, right?
Yeah.
I did that for I did that for quite a while, probably 7 or 8 years. The school.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we did talk about Ruta.
Yep, we didn't talk about rust though.
Rostax is again usually joint injuries. They're usually stiff, um, ligaments, connective tissue. It's typically worse first motion and then better just continued motion. So you know those. I know a couple people like this growing up. They get hurt and they say walk it off. They're
Yeah.
literally feeling better after they walk.
Well, it's also one of those, I think, one of those remedies that I've given for other reasons other than first aid. But isn't this the poison ivy remedy?
Yes.
So also there's some skin issues here,
Mm-hmm.
dermal issues that you could take this remedy for. So if you were to be in contact with poison ivy or poison oak, I think this would be very helpful. And that's the thing with homeopathic remedies, right? We're picking a remedy that is like cures like. So the
Yes.
symptoms has to match the symptoms and the remedy, which sounds kind of crazy, but it works, right? So in order to get rid of poison ivy, you would take poison. which is the
Right.
rust tux.
But not necessarily every time either. For some
No, and
inflammations,
definitely
yeah,
not the plant. I mean, we're
yeah.
talking about a medicated.
So like if it was poison oak, Ruta would work for it, but not typically every time for poison ivy itself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Again, it's really dependent on the symptoms, right?
Hmm.
And
Okay.
that's why we ask a million questions. Tell us more. Tell us more. Tell us more is what we say. Need
Uh,
more.
Calcarea carbonica again is another one for sprains for overexertion. Oh my god, the word just got stuck in my throat.
For
Uh,
exertion,
yes,
overexertion. Yeah. Exhaustion,
yeah.
too much exercise, people who are exercising 5 or 6 times a week.
Again, another thing
Um,
that arnica is good for.
yeah. Yeah. So a lot of different remedies you could choose to take. In our seminars, we're going to go probably in depth more with first aid, definitely
Mhm.
with each remedy. Um, we could basically take an hour on each remedy that we have. That's like 6,000 hours of teaching.
Another
And then what
one,
ends up happening is, in the end, is like, it's still, which one do I take?
exactly, exactly. Another one, it's more for strains and pains rather than bruises. So this one would be for deep muscle strain. Um, with or without bruising, it's usually better movement again. It's better rubbing the affected area, and it's worse getting wet, worse on suddenly being chilled after being overheated. Um, it's Bellus perennis. It's
Well,
would be called Bell P if you're looking at it on a tube.
mhm.
Bryonia again is worse any motion, so it would be the polar opposite of Rustox and Bellus. Um, if you again, this is a remedy that can be used for many things, but it's typically a dry uh, remedy, so dry lips, dry tongue, dry throat, um, muscles and joints feel kind of dried up. That would be this one again. Sharp, excruciating pain. This would be bryonia. So they look like they're in severe pain. Anything they do hurts, and you don't know if they're faking or not because again, if somebody's faking a pain, they'll also be acting like bryonia. But this is actually anything hurts.
Wow, that's a lot to remember. That's why you go to a homeopath, so you don't have to remember.
Well,
That's case.
bryonia is an easy one to remember. Everything hurts.
Yes, and of course, there's many, many more first aid remedies that you could take depending on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then if one doesn't work, then you move on to the next. That's kind of homeopathy. But the
Mm-hmm.
whole point about taking the symptoms down accurately is that we get you that one remedy that is going to work right away. But definitely with first aid remedies, if you know why you know what the issue is, like you've got your finger in a door, then you know what remedy to take, and that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty specific.
Exactly. So for first aid, it's usually better to have a quick understanding of a couple remedies, have them in a kit so you can just easily just pop it open, and you usually know what things kind of happen to your family most often, so you'd have your
Right.
kit specifically for that. This one here I have as a pretty mixed bag of nuts. So Nux vomica, pulsatilla, arnica, ledum, calendula, and it has aconite and compost for sleeping. So if you have trouble sleeping. Honestly, don't know why I put that in there, but it seems to be very common lately. So I
Oh,
figured
yeah.
if you're having trouble sleeping, this kit would be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And I have one that has 16 remedies in it, most of which we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Comes with a little book for you to look at, but
I figured
we
I'd
should.
do the half kits so that way they can collect another 8.
Ah, very nice. Very good.
Because I also have the full kits, but it's just I prefer the half kits.
Good plan.
Mm-hmm.
How we're going to do our seminars is we're going to um, have probably the empty kits available. And if you come to the seminars, you can purchase the remedy that we're talking about and
Mm-hmm.
place it in your own kit. And then start your own first aid kit that way homeopathically.
Yeah.
So once you get to know the remedy, then if you want to purchase it, then you start your own kit, then you can use it for the future. It's really understanding what it's all about and then, feeling comfortable using it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah.
It's very informative.
What else is good for pains and strains? We're gonna shift from homeopathy a little bit. Do you know any other remedies, either herbal or otherwise, that
Well,
might help?
I have one that's still a homeopathic remedy, and that's Cephitum.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Cephitum, and it's for broken bones. And they can be slow to heal, or even for irritable stumps after the amputation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also good for pain, gunshot wounds, which hopefully none of us will ever have to see, and some eye injuries. So that's another homeopathic remedy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use a lot of herbs right at the moment, but other than a whole lot of sleeping herbs, I don't use them for myself, but I have done remedy jars for people, just dried herbs.
I even have some instructions on how to build lotions for certain wounds as well. So I'm
We should do
thinking,
some of those too, because I think people like to make their own things these days, and then they can have it handy. So
I
we
think
should do.
that should be its own full lecture because I do have a
So,
lot on wounds and fractures and scrapes and cuts.
yeah, I agree with you. Well, we sounds like we have a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We could be talking about this for years, I'm sure.
And I also know for bruising, I was dealing with a lot of the activists, and they were having trouble finding stuff. So they found mint tea bags. They would soak a rag and they'd put it on the affected parts. They used it for both bruising and for rashes caused by chemical burns.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
Chemical burns were from the bombs, so it's
Was there
from the mustard bombs.
mustard bones?
Bombs,
Bonds.
yeah,
Oh, bonds. Oh,
stuff like that.
interesting. Yeah,
So they
no.
were getting the pustules, and ugh,
Yeah.
they sent me pictures.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, great. I think we're going to probably end
Yeah.
our session tonight. Lots of information. Might have to listen to it a couple times, giving you lots of little bits and pieces. You can start your own little notes,
Mm-hmm.
keep track of what we're talking about.
Don't forget to like our pages on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube accounts
Yes,
and
Charleston Lake Apothecary.
Rowlis Gifts on YouTube as well and Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And so we will probably see everybody when in 2 weeks from
In
now.
two
So what are
weeks,
we looking at?
December
Two,
1st.
December 1st at 6 o'clock, and we will try to be on time this time.
So,
Maybe.
did we want our next? I should actually end the stream. Well, thank you and have a good night, guys.
Bye.